KSC Presents. After Scott Kelly spent a year in space, this is the torture his body went through back on Earth. It's early 2016 March to be precise, and Scott Kelly has just arrived back on Earth. He's just spent 340 days aboard the International Space Station, the longest stint that an American astronaut has ever completed. But as the days wear on, the real impact of his record-breaking mission becomes apparent. In February of 1964, Richard and Patricia Kelly welcomed son, Scott, into the world, alongside his twin brother, Mark. Growing up in the New Jersey suburb of West Orange, in the later years of high school, Kelly took a job working as a paramedic in the local community. And after graduating in 1982, he began attending the University of Maryland in Baltimore. While at college, Kelly discovered The Right Stuff, Tom Wolfe's 1979 book about the early days of spaceflight. Inspired by the pilots preparing to take mankind to the stars, he decided that naval aviation was the career for him. But sadly, his application to join his brother at the United States Merchant Marine Academy was turned down. Instead, Kelly enrolled at the Maritime College of New York State University. As a student there, he experienced sailing around the world. And after graduating in 1987, he joined the U.S. Navy as an ensign. Now a military man, he traveled to Pensacola's Naval Air Station in Florida, where he began attending flight school. Early on in Kelly's career, he was singled out to be a jet pilot and sent to Beeville in Texas for further training. And in 1989, he finally earned himself the title of Naval Aviator. Over the course of the next 25 years, he would log over 8,000 hours in the air and take control of in excess of 40 different types of flying machine. However, it wasn't Kelly's naval career that would win him recognition around the world. In 1996, he was handpicked to join NASA, where he began training to become an astronaut. And on December 19, 1999, he was sent into space for the first time, part of a 7-man crew on board the shuttle Discovery. On that mission, Kelly spent 8 days helping to carry out maintenance on the Hubble Space Telescope. At the end of the assignment, the crew safely returned to Earth on December 27. However, the pull of outer space was clearly too great. In August 2007, he joined the shuttle Endeavour as commander for a 13-day trip to the International Space Station. Although that was Kelly's first visit to the ISS, it certainly would not be his last. In October 2010, he returned, this time on a Soyuz rocket launched by the Russian space program. There, he joined the station's 25th mission as a flight engineer. And when Expedition 26 started the following month, he took on the role of commander. This time around, Kelly spent a total of 159 days living on the ISS. By now, he was divorced from his first wife. He did, however, have 2 young daughters and a girlfriend waiting for him back on Earth. And by the time the commander eventually returned, he had already begun to feel the physical effects of spending so long in space. However, Kelly's 6-month stint on the ISS was nothing compared to what was to come. Near the end of 2012, he was chosen by NASA to undertake a record-breaking year-long mission on the ISS. And even though Soviet astronauts had set the bar high in the 1990s with a staggering 438 days in space, it was the first time that an American had attempted such an astonishing feat. The Mammoth mission had been planned in partnership with Russia's Federal Space Agency. As such, Russian astronaut Mikhail Kornienko would be joining Kelly on his year in space. With an expedition to Mars in their sights, NASA wanted the men to help them measure the long-term effects of space travel on the human body. Previously, most ISS missions had lasted around 6 months. These trips were useful in providing researchers with information about the physical effects of spending short periods in space. However, in order to safely send humans on much longer journeys, experts knew that they had to begin gathering data on extended stays. Interestingly, there was another factor that made Kelly the perfect guinea pig for NASA's tests. His twin brother, Mark, who had also become an astronaut, would be staying on Earth. This allowed experts a unique opportunity to compare two identical people in very different environments. Dubbed the twins study, the data that the brothers contributed would form part of NASA's Human Research Program. In March of 2015, the two astronauts took off from Kazakhstan's Baikonur Cosmodrome. They then rocketed to the ISS, their home for the coming year. And for the next 11 months, they occupied their time conducting a number of scientific tests. In fact, Kelly claims that over 400 experiments were performed during their time in space. According to Kelly, these experiments tended to fall into two classifications. The first consisted of those that hoped to lead innovations back home. The second, however, included those designed to improve the efficiency of exploring the galaxy. As a result, the New Jersey native found himself working on everything from botany to medical tests. During Kelly's time in space, he also stayed connected with social media networks on Earth. Using the hashtag #PoundYearInSpace, he kept Twitter and Instagram users regularly updated on his incredible journey. In fact, he uploaded some 750 pictures during his time at the ISS, signing off with the #GoodNight from space post on an almost daily basis. When the astronaut wasn't occupied performing experiments and updating social media, he liked to use the onboard equipment to stay fit. Believe it or not, exercising is an important task in an environment where muscles can quickly waste away. On specially adapted machines, he worked out for around 2 hours each day. However, Kelly and the crew still found time to let their hair down on the ISS. For example, on one occasion he uploaded a video showing him floating around the station dressed in a gorilla suit. Another time, he chatted with Reddit users as part of an Ask Me Anything interview, answering questions about his time in space. In all of Kelly's time on the ISS, he only ventured outside on 3 occasions. This was one of the things that some people found difficult to imagine about living on the space station. The fact that I couldn't step outside when I felt like it, he told the Sydney Morning Herald in 2017. Putting on a spacesuit and leaving the station for a spacewalk was an hours-long process. It requires the full attention of at least 3 people on the station and dozens more on the ground. Aside from the close confines, there were plenty of risks that came with Kelly's mission. Every day I was exposed to 10 times the radiation of a person on Earth, which will increase my risk of cancer for the rest of my life, he wrote in Endurance, A Year in Space, A Lifetime of Discovery, his 2017 book about his experiences. Not to mention the psychological stress, which is harder to quantify and perhaps as damaging. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.